Hi, Maryalice here with Change Your Aim, Change Your Life. And I'm really happy that you're joining me for this video series. I promised you I was going to share some more information because I get a lot of questions that come up on Facebook and in emails to me. And I love to help you. So first, this video is more of an introductory of what we're going to cover. And I want to share a few things, so bear with me because I think they're really important. First, I want to tell you about Change Your Aim, what I mean by that, a little bit about myself, why this subject is important, and then we'll continue on with the other videos. Why change your aim, change your life? What does that mean? And I know a lot of people are like, what does that mean? I mean, it sounds cool, but what does it mean? Well, when I came up, actually didn't come up with a name. A friend of mine suggested it to me, and I thought, wow, that really makes sense because we are changing our aim in life. We're changing our focus. We're changing where we're going to become conscious about where we want to be. Instead of living by default. We live by default so much of the time. And part of that is very good. It keeps us alive. Our subconscious is great that way. It's like we're driving and we're like, oh, how did we get here? I don't even remember the roads I took, but I'm here safely. Well, that's because your subconscious took over as you were thinking of other things, maybe your grocery list or whatever. So that's good. We're going to talk about that too, about the default mode of living as opposed to living on purpose and taking 100% responsibility for your life. We're going to talk about the people around you and the influence that you had when you were little and to maybe even now. Who are your friends? Did you know that you're the average of the 5 friends you hang around? Seriously, that goes for financially, intellectually, physically. So who are the people that you hang around the most? And does it reflect who you really want to be and who you are? That's something to think about too. So when I talk about changing your aim, what I mean is I'm talking about learning to live on purpose as opposed to default. And if you're here, I'm assuming that you are here because as a child you were sexually abused, physically abused, hurt, went through a trauma of some kind, and it really affected you. And my voice here, what I want to share here is that there's no shame and there's no judgment in that. It's the reason I wrote my book, Shatter, Shame, and Shine. It's information and transformational guidance for women who silently struggle with their issue of their childhood abuse and for those who think they are not. Because if you were, and you don't tend to those wounds, you are affected. I was one of those women. I thought if I don't talk about it, I was so embarrassed and humiliated. I couldn't talk about it. I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know who to talk to about it. You know, I never felt safe to talk about it. And I was so embarrassed and ashamed. And I'm going to tell you that that shame is a false shame because it doesn't belong to you. It was put on you. And I'm going to discuss that in the next video. So we're going to discuss the effects of the abuse on you as a little person. We're going to discuss the coping mechanisms. We're going to discuss how you can change your thought patterns and your belief systems, the false belief systems of who you think you are. I want you to begin to find your purpose and your passion if you feel like you don't know what that is. Or you're not sure, or you do know, but you're too afraid to pursue them. I'm here for you. I want you to know that you matter. You are on this planet, and you're a miracle. You're a miracle being here. Seriously. I forget the stats on that, but it's something like, well, first of all, the timing of your conception, the hundreds of thousands of sperm and the one that got to the egg to create you, the timing on this planet of your birth and who you are as a person. You are here for a reason and you matter and you're amazing. That's why I always say that. I mean it from my heart. I had to learn that about myself. So let me tell you a little bit about who I am. I'm Maryalice Coleman. I don't use that last name very much. I go by Maryalice, and I am an inner life coach, a mentor, author, and workshop leader. Inner life because it's within, it's inside us where everything happens. It's not out there. And we want to think everything out there is going to make us happy or change us, or if only they did this, or if she said that right, or if he did this right, then I'd be happy. It's like, that's a lie, and it's false. What that is icing on the cake. It's like, great if that happens. But true happiness comes from within. It comes from self-worth and self-love and understanding who you are and what you have to offer. Now, I want to talk about the subject about childhood abuse because it's always pushed aside. It's looked at as, oh, that happens over there. Oh, that's such a dark issue, or blah, 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 blah. I am so sick of that mindset. And the reason I am is because it keeps people in pain and in shame and not dealing with the issue because society keeps poo-pooing it. There's an amazing organization called Million March Against Child Abuse. They're trying to get people to show up to march in their cities or in Washington. It's so important that this has a voice and that this has representation, because 1 in 4 girls in our country alone, in America, not to mention around the world, which is 1 in 2 in some areas of the world, are sexually abused some way in some form. 1 in 4. That's like 45 million girls grow up to be women. Well, how are they acting in the world? How are they showing up in the world? How are you showing up in the world? How do you want to show up in the world? I know you have a longing inside you to be different. You know that there's greatness within you. I love Les Brown. He always reminds us, you have greatness within you. And you know what? I believe that. I didn't used to. I was sexually abused at home. I had a difficult upbringing. I had some very happy moments too within family life, but I struggled. I lived by default for quite a long time. And the light switch went on in my late 20s. See, nobody knew, and I was one of the millions of women to think, well, if I don't say anything, if I pretend it never happened, then I'm okay. Well, I wasn't okay. And if you're one of those women, I know you know you're not okay, and that you're struggling in relationships, friendships, work, whatever it might be. Because you're living and believing false lies about who you think you are because of what happened. Now, the next few videos, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to go into great detail about how this happens. Again, I talk about it in my book, Shatter, Shame, and Shine. It is available on Amazon, and I don't say that to give, oh, there's a shameless plug. I say it because I wrote it from my heart. I want you to know how to give you the tools and references of how to grow past your issue of childhood abuse. I want to give it a voice. You know why? I've had TV producers tell me, wow, your book is great and what you do is amazing, but oh, that's a dark subject for our audience. I'm like, are you kidding me? Your audience is mostly women. You don't think they want to know this information? This is where I get really, really annoyed because this subject is not dark. It's serious, yes. It's a sensitive topic, yes. But it's not dark, because that darkness belongs in the mind of the perpetrator, not on the person affected. And that's where I split hairs. I get so like, quit telling me it's a dark subject. You want to know dark? Look at the movies that are out there. Look at the video games that are available to kids. Look at the commercials we have. And I remember the day when my mom goes, is there no shame? You know, because they started having commercials about Viagra, erectile dysfunction. There are hour-long commercials on cable for sex toys. There's, you know, we talk about all kinds of things that, 25 years ago, like, you don't talk about that in public. Well, these things are important to talk about. I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they can't enhance your life or make it better. But why not this subject? Why not give voice to this subject? Why not give voice to who you are and be the best that you can be, and stop allowing your past to run your life? I see it over and over and over and over. And you know what? So many people aren't aware. The awareness is number one. And if you go on my YouTube videos, I talk about that. I have a whole series about lights, camera, action. And I talk about awareness is so important. And then taking action to change. And then all the other, I think there were 6 or 7 of those lined up that I share with you. But I'll go over it again if you need me to, if you can't find those videos. Anyway, thank you for listening. This is getting kind of long. And I want to save my time to teach and to train and to help you, okay? So I wanted to give you a foundation of what we're going to go over. We're going to talk about default living as opposed to living on purpose. And that's what I mean by changing your aim. We were born with this aim to be successful, to be great, to use our capabilities and talents to help others, to help ourselves. And you know what? It gets squelched. That aim just, boom, gets squished down because of these issues of hidden shame and pain. You're not broken. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you in essence, because who you really are is really there. It's that you're covered up with stuff, right? I felt it, and sometimes I still feel it. But I've learned how to move past those issues. And I want you to have the same tools. And if it'll benefit you, if you're in counseling or therapy and this is supportive work for you, I am thrilled. If you've never gotten help or you can't afford therapy, then I do believe that what I have to share with you will help you get on the path of healing and give you understanding, so that when the time comes for counseling or therapy, you'll have a better idea of what you want to work on. You'll know exactly the issue at hand, and you won't be embarrassed or ashamed, because it's important to know you have nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing. If you were harmed as a child, you were sexually abused as a small girl. Now I know it affects boys too. I mean, across the board. Boys are hurt and abused as well. But because I'm a woman and I know my expertise, I like to share with women. As boys grow into adulthood, their issues are a little different, and I'm hoping and praying that there's someone who's come up to help men as well in this issue. So I know men read my book and they like it and they learned a lot, so that I'm grateful for too. If you are 1 in 4 of girls in this country, one of these women that I'm talking about, I hope and pray that what I share with you is going to help you, because that's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do, to give voice to this subject. It doesn't have to be shut behind closed doors of a therapist or whispered. Now, I'm not saying go shout it from the rooftops. I'm just saying be open. Allow yourself to be open and teachable. Drop your defenses. Just drop your defenses. Listen to what I want to share with you. If it helps you, I am beyond ecstatic. If it's something you feel like you have to put on the shelf and think about it later, that's great. If you find you don't resonate with me or connect with me, that's fine too. But if you know someone who will, please let them know about these videos. Thank you for listening. And I will be posting in another couple days a video talking about our brain and how we habitualize what happens to us when we're children, how we think the way we think, and coping mechanisms, and how the coping mechanisms we acquire, we take into adulthood, and then we think that's just who I am. And no, it's not. It's not who you are. You're more than that. So let's get this show on the road. Thank you for listening. And have a great day, everybody. Remember, you are amazing, you're a miracle, and you matter. Take care.